Offset getting shot outside a Florida casino, then Lil Tjay getting arrested only to walk free and call Offset music. A snitch has the internet going crazy. But what allegedly happened after his release is even wilder, with rumors of revenge, exclusive footage, and claims things went way too far. Buckle up. This gets insane. On the evening of Monday, April 6, 2026, Offset, real name Kiari Kendrell Cephas, was shot in the Valet area outside the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. It was around 7 p.m. The Valet area, not backstage at a concert, not in a dark alley. A valet stand outside one of the most popular casino resorts in South Florida. He was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries, and his team confirmed the news shortly after. A spokesperson told the media Offset was shot and is currently at the hospital receiving medical care. He is stable and being closely monitored. The Seminole Police Department said 2 people had been detained at the scene, but initially, the identities of those detained were not released. Music. Police confirmed the site was secure and that there was no ongoing threat to the public, but the internet wasn't waiting for a press conference. Within minutes, footage from the aftermath began circulating on social media. Reports were flying in every direction. DJ Academics went live on Kick late Monday evening, claiming that Lil Tjay, real name Tioni Jaden Merritt, had also been shot during the same incident. He alleged the shooting erupted during a physical altercation between the 2 rappers. Say Nash went further, claiming that Offset got into a physical fight with Lil Tjay, who then retaliated with gunfire. Meanwhile, Red Media posted that footage showed the moment Lil Tjay attacked and shot Offset inside the casino over a $10,000 debt Offset refused to pay. Along with reports that Offset owed up to $900,000 for money borrowed for gambling. Now these are all unverified claims, but the picture being painted was vivid. 2 music rappers, a casino, a long-standing debt, and gunfire. And behind it all was a story that had been building for over a year. TMZ was first to report Tjay's arrest and alleged connection with the shooting. Then the Seminole Police Department confirmed Lil Tjay was arrested and charged in connection with the incident that took place Monday night at a valet area outside of Seminole Hard Rock. He wasn't charged with a shooting, and he was booked into the Broward County Jail on a disorderly conduct affray charge with bail set at $500. He was also charged with a traffic violation that carries a $2,500 bond. That's where this story gets complicated, because the man, Music, the internet was blaming for shooting Offset, was sitting in a jail cell, not on attempted murder charges, but on a misdemeanor. And the question everybody wanted answered wasn't just what happened. It was, how did it get here? To understand that, we have to go back to early 2025. The tension between Offset and Lil Tjay didn't start in a valet area in Hollywood, Florida. It started reportedly at another casino and over a much smaller amount of money than you'd expect from 2 rappers at this level. During a Twitch stream in January 2026, Lil Tjay accused Offset of being broke, claiming he loaned him up to $10,000 for casino gambling and was never repaid. According to Tjay's version of events, he ran into Offset at a casino and found him in a state of desperation. Tjay's exact words painted a picture that was hard to forget. He said he saw Offset panicking, asking random people for Cash App money, and that nobody was answering his phone calls. According to Tjay, Offset was chasing people around the casino floor looking for anyone who would front him cash. Lil Tjay alleged that he offered to give Offset $5,000, which the rapper Music took, and headed directly back to the casino to gamble some more. Then, Tjay Music said he witnessed Offset borrowing another $3,000 from other people, including $1,000 from a random lady. Tjay claims he gave Offset a second $5,000 on top of the first and says he was never paid back. Now, context matters here. Lil Tjay is a 24-year-old rapper from the Bronx best known for hits like FN and Calling My Phone. He's done well for himself, but he's talking about a man who was one-third of Migos, a group that earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Album and made Bad and Boujee one of the biggest songs of the 2000s. For Tjay to publicly say he lent Offset money at a casino and got ghosted, that's a statement. It wasn't just about the $10,000. It was about embarrassment. And he didn't just say it once. Tjay told this story with a specific edge to it. He pointed out Offset's age and stature in the industry. Music, sir. He referenced Cardi B. He called Offset broke on a live stream where thousands of people were watching. And he doubled down every time he had the chance. In March 2026, he shared a post on Instagram flaunting jewelry and suggested the rapper was relying on lunch money. The caption was unmistakable, a direct shot at Offset's finances. Tjay wrote that he could never be broke like Offset running off and making smoke over lunch money. That's not subtle. Offset responded with a challenge telling Tjay to meet him in New York for a one-on-one confrontation. He wanted to go on Instagram Live and hash it out face-to-face. Music Offset's words were clear. He was willing to fly to Tjay, and he wasn't backing down. But what he didn't do was deny the debt. He didn't deny being at the casino. He didn't deny asking for money. He attacked Tjay's credibility and career instead, and that only added fuel to the fire. The beef between them had been brewing for music months, with Tjay repeatedly saying that Offset refused to repay the money he'd loaned him. Tjay also added context to threatening messages he reportedly sent Offset over social media, saying he was only talking crazy because Offset talked crazy first. At one point, Tjay even mentioned that he considered physically confronting Offset on his birthday, but decided against it. Now the confrontation had finally happened in a casino, just like where the story began, and it ended with a gunshot. When the Seminole Police Department announced Lil Tjay's arrest, the expectation on social media was that this was a done deal. Offset was in the hospital. Tjay was in custody. Case closed, right? Not exactly. Lil Tjay's attorney, Don M. Florio, immediately denied that her client was involved in Offset's shooting. She posted a statement on Instagram that was direct and firm. She stated that Lil Tjay had not been shot, nor had he been charged with any shooting, and that any reporting to the contrary was false. She encouraged people to consult trusted news sources and to verify the accuracy of reporting before sharing baseless rumors. This was a sharp, lawyered-up response, not the kind of thing you release when your client is guilty of what the internet says he did. And technically, she was right. While early speculation attempted to link Lil Tjay more directly to the shooting, officials had not charged him with any weapons-related offenses. The actual charge was disorderly conduct or affray, which is classified as a first-degree misdemeanor under Florida law. That's not a shooting charge. That's a charge that means you were involved in a public disturbance or a fight. Gary Bitney, a spokesperson for the Seminole Police Department, confirmed that the incident began as a fight. He also said that a second person was detained at the scene but had not been charged. And critically, Bitney added that an investigation to identify one or more additional persons involved in the incident is ongoing. That statement, carries enormous weight. It means the police don't believe they've identified everyone responsible for what happened that night. So, here we are. Offset is in the hospital with a gunshot wound. Lil Tjay is in jail, but not for the shooting. The person who actually pulled the trigger may or may not have been identified, and the investigation is still ongoing. The confusion was amplified by conflicting reports. DJ Academics first claimed Lil Tjay was shot alongside Offset. Then, about an hour later, retracted that report and said Tjay was not shot, but was in custody. Other commentators like Say Nash alleged that Offset got into a physical fight with Tjay, who retaliated with gunfire. But that claim was never confirmed, and Nash didn't make his sources clear. The picture was murky at best, but it was about to get even messier. The bond was $500. That's it. For a first-degree misdemeanor disorderly conduct charge in the state of Florida, Lil Tjay's bond was set at $500. For a rapper of his income level, that amount is essentially nothing. So it was no surprise when word spread that Lil Tjay was released from custody quickly. And what happened next turned this story from a shooting incident into something that the hip-hop internet couldn't stop talking about. According to Say Cheese, Lil Tjay was free and claiming that Offset had snitched on him. That's the allegation that lit the fuse on a second explosion. Jay wasn't laying low after getting released. He wasn't consulting with his legal team in private. He was out in public, on camera, and he was accusing Offset of cooperating with police. Kirk reported that Lil Tjay called Offset Music a rat after getting released from custody, and he didn't just call him a name. He described the scene. Tjay said the last thing he saw was Offset looking at him and Music pointing him out to authorities. According to Tjay, Offset looked at him and said something to the effect of "that man shot me." That visual, whether accurate or exaggerated, is one of the most damaging things you can say about another rapper in hip-hop culture. Music. Now let's be clear about what we're dealing with. In hip-hop, the label snitch, or rat, music, is one of the most destructive accusations you can make. It doesn't matter if the person was actually the victim of a crime. It doesn't matter if they were cooperating with a lawful investigation into their own shooting. The accusation alone carries cultural weight. And Lil Tjay, a man who was shot 7 times himself during a 2022 robbery attempt in New Jersey, knows exactly how the culture works. He knows what that word does. Meanwhile, TMZ reported that Offset had been seen for the first time since being shot, photographed smoking in a hospital gown outside the medical facility. He was alive, and he was recovering, but he was not talking. As of the most recent reports, Offset had not issued a personal statement about the shooting. His representatives confirmed he was stable and being closely monitored, but the man himself remained silent music, while the narrative around him spiraled. And the narrative was spiraling because this wasn't just Jay and Offset anymore. Other figures in the hip-hop world were weighing in, and each reaction added another layer to an already chaotic story. Quavo, Offset's former Migos bandmate, posted a prayer hands emoji on his Instagram story shortly after the news broke. He didn't say anything else. No written statement, no video, just the emoji. But for those who know the history, it said music a lot. Quavo and Offset have had their issues in the past, but here, when a bullet was involved, the former Migos member showed up, if only symbolically. Quavo was present in November 2022 when his nephew Takeoff was fatally shot outside a Houston bowling alley. Takeoff was struck in the head and torso and did not survive. He was the 3rd member of Migos, and his music death at 28 years old sent shockwaves through the music world. So, for Quavo, this was not abstract. Offset is now the 2nd former Migos member to be impacted by a shooting in recent years. The parallels were impossible to ignore. Music and fans immediately flooded social media with references to Takeoff, praying that music history would not repeat itself. Then there was 6ix9ine, the controversial rapper, fresh out of prison. Music immediately began trolling both Offset and Lil Tjay. But he was reportedly seen driving towards the scene of the incident and posting about it on social media. For anyone familiar with 6ix9ine's track record, none of this was surprising, but it underscored just how quickly a violent incident in hip-hop becomes spectacle, music consumed, memed, and debated before the victim is even discharged from the hospital. Now let's address the title of this video. Offset just took brutal revenge on Lil Tjay for shooting him. The word revenge is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. And here's why. If we take Lil Tjay's claims at face value, that Offset pointed him out to police and that Offset identified him as the shooter, then the revenge isn't physical. It isn't a retaliatory shooting. It isn't a gang retaliation. It's something far more devastating in hip-hop culture. Cooperation with law enforcement. It's the accusation of snitching. In a world where the code of silence is treated as a foundational value, the idea that Offset, a man from the streets of Atlanta, a man who rapped about that lifestyle, a man who was married to Cardi B, would look at another rapper and tell the police, "He shot me." That's what Tjay is framing as the revenge. He's flipping the narrative. Instead of being the man who got arrested for a shooting, Tjay is positioning himself as the man who got told on by a grown rapper who couldn't handle his own problems. But here's the thing that gets lost in all the noise. Lil Tjay has not been charged with any shooting. His attorney was very clear about that. The investigation is ongoing, and police are still working to identify one or more additional persons involved. The police statement confirms that the shooting involving Offset and Lil Tjay's arrest is connected, especially given the prior tension between the two artists over the alleged gambling debt. But connection and guilt are two very different things. What we know for certain is this: Offset was shot and is recovering in the hospital. Lil Tjay was arrested, charged with a misdemeanor, and released. Music. Tjay came out swinging, calling Offset a rat, and claiming he was identified to police by the man he allegedly shot. Whether that makes Offset's cooperation revenge or simply the act of a gunshot victim identifying his attacker depends entirely on where you stand. In the eyes of the law, telling police who shot you is not revenge. It's a statement, it's evidence, it's the first step in a criminal investigation. But in the eyes of hip-hop culture, at least the corners of it that still hold tight to street codes, it's a mark. It's something that follows you, and Lil Tjay is banking on that. Music. Whether it sticks is another question entirely, because Offset has been through worse. He survived the collapse of Migos. Music. He survived a very public divorce from Cardi B. He survived the murder of his cousin Takeoff. Music. And now he survived being shot outside of a Florida casino. If there's one thing Offset has proven, it's that he endures. As for Lil Tjay, the investigation isn't over. Police are still reviewing surveillance footage and working to piece together the full sequence of events from that Monday night. He may have walked out of Broward County Jail on a $500 bond, but the story of what happened in that valet area at the Seminole Hard Rock is still being written. And when Music, the full truth comes out, whether it confirms the internet's version of events or shatters it, the consequences will be real for both men. Music. For now, Offset recovers in silence. Lil Tjay talks, and the rest of us watch.